Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Believe in Duke podcast. I'm Steve Wiseman from the Raleigh News and Observer, joined by Shelden Williams. Shelden, this is episode number 99 of our podcast. So the next one we do after the Auburn game,
Yeah. We're about to be triple digits,
we're
100,
going to hit a
100.
big number. That's right. Look at
That's crazy
us.
because we haven't talked about that, but I had it written down for us to kind of discuss today. So it's crazy how you already said it already. So, but yeah,
Yeah, man. Look at us. We're in sync, baby.
right.
We're in sync. Now, the Blue Devils need to get in sync against these better teams.
Yes.
Obviously, the win over Arizona was still impressive, although Arizona is now going to fall out of the top 25 from all their losses. But Duke, lost to Kentucky late, lost to Kansas late,
Mm-hmm.
came back from the trip to Vegas and beat Seattle, pretty handily, as you would expect, 70-48. A great defensive performance that day by the Blue Devils. And we're going to hear from John Scheyer what he thought about that performance. He wasn't very happy, actually, with the Seattle game, but it's more about the overall vibe of the team as they head into this game Wednesday night at Cameron against Auburn, a top 5 opponent. One of the better teams in the country, basically a team that can win the national championship, a team that is experienced and physical and all the things that Duke has had problems with. So we're going to talk about that today. I guess, what are your thoughts? Let's talk about real quick what your thoughts about this game Wednesday night. What's going to happen? What's coming up? What they're going to face?
Yeah, I mean, after a situation like Kansas, I just thought that we was going to have, especially coming back at home, that we just going to have just a lot of people just kind of coming in and like, all right, we're going to be very upset, very angry with what happened. We had a chance to really do something special against the number one veteran team at that with Kansas, and we kind of let that slip through our fingers. Just especially the way we ended the last two or three possessions of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So coming back home, I'm thinking like it's going to be kind of like just a smash mouth where we're just going to go in and we're just going to knock them out from the start and go boom and keep going until John, but all right, call it off, that type of thing. I thought that's how he's going to have like just kind of just hit them early and keep hitting them and just getting ready for the next game, which is going to be the bigger test in Auburn.
No question that's going to be the bigger test. Yeah, Duke was up 12 points at halftime, 37-25 over Seattle, but it wasn't, they kind of pulled away at the end of the first half, so it wasn't like they, came out and just took control of that game the way you kind of wanted to. And I
Right.
know travel, all that stuff, but still, John wanted him to do that. So we'll hear from him in a second here on that. But first, I want to remind everybody about Bet Online, which sponsors the podcast. Bet Online continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL to UFC. Head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Let's first hear from Coach Scheyer. This will be clip 2, Shelden, where he talks about the lessons learned from the Kansas game and what he saw against Seattle and what needs to happen as they go forward to Auburn.
On with practice and so forth, the defense.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought we were really soft in the first half. Just they were more physical with us. That's 2 games in a row. They came out more physical than us on defense. We were softer. They missed some shots. I didn't think it was a lot to do with what we were doing. But the first 8 minutes of the second half, that was to me what we have to do. I thought we came out with great energy, really guarded the ball. I thought we had 5 guys defending the ball, and that was the energy. I like way too many free throws for them. We have to do a way better job defending without fouling. When we gave you 31 free throws, that's ridiculous. It's not good enough. But I thought we had some good stretches of what it should look like. We just have to string it together for 40 minutes.
Yeah, Seattle shot 31 free throws in that game.
Mm.
They made 24 of them, so they left some points on it. But, what did you see? I guess the physicality. You were in Vegas like I was. We both watched the Seattle game on TV, but what are your thoughts on that aspect of it?
Yeah. First thing that kind of went through my mind was this supposed to be a tune-up game, getting ready for the next game. And after the game was over with, I was kind of hoping that maybe they was overlooking this team, getting ready, getting ready and prepared for the next game, which is Auburn. So maybe that was going through their minds at the time. But then just another part of me was just like, you know what, you can't have a ending like Kansas game and not have that feeling in your gut where we got to just we can't sit well with it. We got to go ahead and unleash whatever inner power we have out of it and just whoever we have next, which is Seattle. So that's what I was hoping. But I was like, if a team like Seattle, no offense, but if a team like Seattle is pushing us around, what do you think is going to expect from the SEC when they come in the house and Auburn, top 5, maybe top 2 now? I don't know how the rankings going to be, but
Yeah.
having them come out and just push us around too. So I mean, we already seen a few years ago what one SEC team did to us in Tennessee, and
Yes.
now we have a Seattle team doing this to us prior to another SEC team. Like, I don't know, it just didn't sit well with me. But I'm hoping that we were looking ahead to Auburn, and that's why we wasn't really paying attention as much to detail with Seattle.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the Auburn team, I mean, Johnny Broome, their 6'10", 240-pound senior center, is looking like the national player of the year right now. He's playing really, really well. They've got other Denver Jones, 6'4" guard, senior. Chad Baker Mazzara, 6'7", seniors. Chaney Johnson, 6'7", 225, senior. Miles Kelly, 6'6", 190, senior. Miles played at Georgia Tech last year. Duke has seen a lot of him. He's done some good things. He's a pretty good player. These are all seniors. These are all physical guys. They're going to bring it to Duke. They are going to – they're not going to be – I mean, Cameron's Cameron, so anytime the first time in there. This won't be Miles Kelly's first time there. He's played there with Georgia Tech. He knows what he's getting into. But this is going to be such a stern test, and it's really going to test the mettle of this Duke team. In ways that the other two didn't, frankly. I know Arizona was on the road. That was a different test on the road.
Right.
The other two were neutral sites. This is a team's that come into Cameron and try to stick it to Duke, and that doesn't happen very often, as you know.
Yeah.
Usually teams come in there all, oh my God, what are we getting into?
Right.
I don't think Auburn's going to feel that way.
No, no.
So,
And I do think that in some aspects we kind of lost a little bit of that. I want to say like a aura that we had around Cameron, where you come in and people taking pictures and they're just in awe of all the past basketball games and things that they saw on TV and players that played there as well. Now it's kind of hard to get back that type of feeling when we're not taking care of what we need to take care of on the road, or putting that fear or instilling that fear into other teams, where now we bring that certain, atmosphere where people are kind of, nervous to play in camera. So I'm hoping that I don't know, I'm hoping that we get some, like I said, we call them come to Jesus type meetings.
yeah,
And
yeah.
just get everybody and we just lay everything out, get everything that's on our minds, our hearts, or whatever, and get everything out. And then we address those things right then and there. And hopefully that propels us to another level of playing cohesive basketball and being more angry, more aggressive, and just, more assertive, out there on the court.
And, this is something where like team captains have to step in forward, all that stuff. John is not named team captains externally. He hasn't announced that anybody's a captain this year, which is unusual for Duke basketball, right? Usually, by now, but Sion James, the transfer from Tulane, is taking a big role in that. I know. I mean, there's the people that they don't have a name, captain by their name, but these are people that are leading this team. Sion James is. Tyrese, we know, was a captain last year, so he's doing the same. Caleb Foster returned, but as you know, like it's hard if you're not playing well. It's hard to lead, isn't it? Like you've got to be. Caleb's hadn't had great games. He didn't have a great game against Kansas. Sion's playing well, right? He's doing a lot of things.
Yeah,
Tyrese had a good game against Kansas. So, Mason Gillis, I know is leading because he's the experience he has for playing at Purdue. So there are people that are there, but yeah, and it's not just. And I know obviously athletes look at one game and they should focus on Auburn. But no matter what happens Wednesday night, Duke has to go to Louisville on the weekend to play Sunday night, and Louisville's playing really good
Yeah,
basketball.
yeah, they was
Right?
playing well. Were they in Bahamas?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I saw one of their games. I was like, oh, this is not the same team we saw
no,
prior. So it's a lot different teams. So yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
they beat the tar out of Indiana, beat them by 30-some points,
Yeah,
and they lost to Oklahoma in the championship game. So, but they have a new coach. They have alternate, you can turn over the roster now like that. So
yeah, yeah,
this is not the same team in the last 2 years that Kenny Payne, sadly for poor Kenny, was coaching.
yeah,
This is kind of back to Louisville, so that's going to be a tough game on Sunday night to open ACC play. So no matter what happens Wednesday, if Duke loses, okay, but if you play tough and physical and whatever, you don't want them to lose. But they got to, whatever happens, they got to turn around fast and head on the road to start ACC play. That's what
yeah,
matters.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. And I don't want to correlate the game to a football game, but I don't want to be a team where we show more fight after the fact. You know, like some of these football teams were fighting more because somebody's trying to plant a flag on their field.
Mhm.
But where was the whole fight during the whole game? Like, I want that to happen. I don't want that to happen to us. I mean, we need to fight throughout the game. We can't be fighting after the fact or, oh, yeah, we can be this and that, whatever. No, we have to actually be able to fight through all kinds of adversities because Duke is going to have all kinds of adversity because a lot of people want to circle, Duke on their schedule and things like that. So if they're having a bad game or a bad season, they can turn it around with just one game playing against Duke. And that's something that a lot of people actually see and try to take advantage of. For us, a lot of times I get the feeling like we are being a little bit more entitled and not just going out there and playing hard. We kind of like, oh, we got to do across our chest. And, some people supposed to lay down, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of hard to shake that. But I
Mhm.
get that feeling from this team. And that's something that this team hasn't proven to be that entitled, to have that feeling or whatever. So I don't know if it's true, if they feel like that, but on the outside looking in, sometimes it feels like this team thinks that they already are better than what they are right now versus just going out there and proving that we are a different team and we are who we are and we're going to make our own name in this Duke history.
Yeah, you do have Duke on your chest, but you haven't earned what the players before you provided to make that. So this is obviously a super talented team, but they have to finish off some of these wins against these top opponents because that's what's going to happen in March. That's when you earn the Duke aura is by
Yeah.
winning
Yeah.
championships, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's not happening yet. And so this is just another test. And we've heard clips last couple times with John talking about this is why he put this schedule together. He thought this team was worthy of it. He thought they could handle it. And they haven't been blown off the court by any stretch. So they've been right down to the end and
Right. Right.
the
Right.
place to win. So you're pretty close, but you got to get over the hump. And
Right.
it's a lot to ask. I mean, Auburn's such a good team. It's a lot to ask, but you're playing at home. You're playing at Cameron. So this is the time if you want to show what you got, baby, this is it right here.
Yeah.
9:00 Eastern game on. Everybody's going to be watching that game. It's going to be a big audience. So this is the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. I mean, Duke doesn't really have a lot of small games. I mean, that's just what it is
Right.
for Duke. But I do want to give a special shout out to Isaiah Evans.
Yeah.
He's been getting a lot of pub recently, especially in social media and things like that. Talking about he needs to be playing more and things like that. But the fact that he hasn't been playing, and then he comes in and he's prepared. He stayed prepared. Like he had his name called against Seattle. And he wound up having, I think it was like 9 points, a couple threes and a dunk and things like that. But he
Yep.
stayed prepared. He wasn't like, woe is me type thing. And a lot of times when you're a young guy who had success in high school, was the man in high school, and come to a big prestigious college like Duke, and it doesn't translate over right away. They kind of get down on themselves, or they looking elsewhere, especially in this day and age where you can always look, over your shoulder, like, oh, I can go here next, next semester or next year or whatever. But he stayed with it. He stayed hungry, and when his name was called, he performed. So I want to say shout out to Isaiah Evans.
Great point. I'm glad you brought him up. I really am because he is somebody that has shown some scoring pop off the bench. and he did that. He got early minutes against Seattle, and John said after the game, "Hey, Isaiah has shown in practice like there's been some deficiencies on defense and things early in practice that freshmen have to adjust, right? Well, he seems to be adjusting, but this team is so good at defense that if you don't play defense, well, you're not going to play. if you're an albatross on defense, you're not going to play. But he's taken the work to heart, and he's shown improvement in practice. And so that's why he got the minutes against Seattle that he got, and he produced 9 points, like you said, he hit a couple threes, an impressive dunk. So now we'll see on Wednesday night against Auburn if he steps up, because Mason Gillets, frankly, has not been hitting 3-pointers like he did at Purdue, right?
And that's what I'm trying to figure out what's going on. He's supposed to be the veteran. He's supposed to be the senior. I'm like, it reminded me a little bit about I forgot the guy's name from Illinois that transferred in that was supposed to be this big time 3-point shooter.
Jacob Grandison. Yeah,
same way. It reminded me like him, where he was supposed to be this 3-point shooter, and I'm waiting for it to happen, and it never really happened. Like, I'm waiting, and I was with my cousin at the Vegas game, and I'm like, I haven't seen Mason hit a 3 but once. Like, I'm waiting, and I'm like, come on, we need this. So if he's not producing, Isaiah has to be the next option up. Hopefully he's ready for that moment, because he hasn't played in the big game yet. So I'm hoping that's the case, but I would hope for both of them to be hitting threes, so we actually have a chance to throw both of them on the court, that type of thing. Even Harris out there. So, but we need somebody to be able to be a consistent 3-point shooter, especially with Khan being up and down with his 3-point shooter as well. So, and then getting Caleb to do his 3-point shooting, and with Proctor, if we can do it in both halves, that'd be great too, because we'll see one half he have 2 or 3 threes, and then all of a sudden we won't see him again. So
right.
But we have firepower. We just need to have them all at the same time, just once.
Waiting for it to come together.
Right, wait for it to come together just one time and see how it looks and how it feels, and all say, oh, we could have been doing this the whole time. Oh, okay, and then something might click.
Yeah, that's it. And you want to happen against one of these really good teams. I mean, if it happens against George Mason or Seattle, it's like not as meaningful as if it's against Auburn or Louisville, right? So that's the hope is it'll happen this week. One thing that we didn't get to meet with Cooper or Khan after the Kansas game. Sion James was the only player from Duke that was able to for interviews, and so. But all the players were available after the Seattle game, and I wasn't there. I was traveling. I covered, so everybody know, for the News Observer. I had another assignment. I was in San Diego covering NC State because I was already out on the West Coast. So I dealt with the Wolfpack for a couple of games over the weekend. So another reporter, Shelby Swanson, who's a terrific young reporter. She's our summer intern. She's going to be a big name in this business, so people should remember Shelby Swanson. But she covered the Duke Seattle game for me. For the News Observer, and she got some interviews shared with us. We're going to play one. We're going to play clip 1 here, Sheldon. This should be Cooper Flagg addressing, what's happened at the end of games and how he's had some turnovers, right? So let's hear what Cooper has to say about that.
Just wanted to ask, since you guys have had the chance to look at a little bit of the film, what are some of the biggest takeaways from this recent stretch on the road for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we got 2 really good games in on the road. 2 very competitive teams, 2 really good teams, very physical games. I think we just took away from it, a lot of confidence, definitely knowing that we can play with anybody and compete with anybody. And a lot of things we just need to get better at, executing down the stretch, not throwing as many turnovers. We got to value the ball a little bit better. And then just got to continue to rebound and play hard.
Yeah, and obviously, a lot has, been made of the execution down the stretch. What are some of the things that you guys have talked about specifically as it relates to that?
I think for us, it's just about experience. We have some people, me included, that haven't been in these type of situations before. So we're just going to keep learning, keep doing our best. We trust each other. We trust the players coach is calling. It just comes down to us executing and getting the shots that we want. And just comes with experience, I think.
So it's a young guy learning, and obviously you hope that he makes plays in those situations going forward. But I think, he has a pretty good attitude. Let's see if he's taking it to heart, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping so. He's going to be thrown in that position, multiple times over the course of the year. So hopefully his learning curve is just as fast as when he's playing against other players that are more, mature or more aggressive than him. Yeah, he has a quick, learning curve like we saw with, KJ out in Vegas, where he kind of was roughing him up a little bit in the first half, and then he kind of figured it out in the second half. So hopefully the learning curve for him is a little bit faster at the end of the games, because now he's, I guess you want to say, quote unquote, 0 for 2 and producing at least a temp at the end of the game, because he had 2 turnovers, that type thing. So
Mhm.
we're going to see. I mean, he's a guy that I can see he's very confident in what he does in his preparation. So I don't think it's going to be something where he's going to just like, I'm going to fade away from it, the moment or things like that. He's making the right plays. I mean, if you look at him against Seattle, you think it'd be a game where he had like 20 and 15 or 20 and 20 type thing, but he played the right way. Almost had a triple double with 9, 9, and 7.
Mhm.
He almost had a triple double with that. So he's allowing the game to come to him. He's not forcing a lot of different things, and you don't see that with a lot of superstars.
Yeah, and the hope is that, in 2 or 3 months here, when we look back on these games in November, we're like, oh, I see. He was just getting used to this, and like he'll be making big plays every game now. And, again, doesn't turn 18 for another couple of weeks here, so um, we keep hammering that point home, but it's relevant. He's a
Yeah.
young guy learning, and obviously you want faster rather than slower, but they're doing what they can to learn what's going on. Con Knippel's been through the same thing.
Mhm.
0 for 8 against Kansas from 3, 5 out of 20 from the field against Kentucky. We all think he is a terrific scorer. He's capable of leading this team in scoring on any night, but we haven't seen it in these big games. So this is it's about a minute and a half here from Con talking with Shelby about, you know, what he's learning through, kind of like what we just talked to Cooper about, what he's learning through the experience, what he's going to take forward.
Just starting off, obviously you guys are coming off of a really tough slate on the road. What are some of the biggest lessons that you think you've learned, especially as a freshman, through those games?
Yeah, I mean, we discovered what it takes to win tough games and big games. Valuing every possession. Making timely plays and having poise, especially near the end of the game.
Yeah.
So,
And if you don't mind, I mean, take me through your head. We haven't had the chance to talk to you since it, but the late turnover against Kansas. Just what did you see on that? Obviously, you were kind of double teamed out of nowhere, but just wanted to get your perspective.
yeah, we're trying to get a switch, and we got the switch. We wanted them to kind of leave 2 on the ball like they were doing all game, and me to hit Coop and the Ghost, and they stayed, and I kind of had an angle. Yeah, and I spun back and I left my feet, and I should have stayed.
That being said, though, I mean, what's it like having those experiences as a freshman that early in the season, those high pressure situations?
It's good. Yeah, you want them try to play with no fear, and I wish I would have stayed off 2 feet.
Yeah. Obviously, I think outside of those plays on the stretch, I think a little bit too much has been made of those. But what are some of the other things that you guys have honed in on? Whether it's just I don't know, rebounding, any other aspects of the game that you really took?
We gave some offensive rebounds late.
Yeah.
And we had 16 turnovers. So just each possession matters in a close game like that, and especially against a tough opponent. So every possession matters. I think that's the biggest takeaway.
The biggest takeaway. Yeah, awesome. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Problem.
There we go. So I was curious to hear what the plan was on that last play against Kansas, right? When Duke was down by 1 point, had the ball, Con got in the lane and lost it. What did you think about his explanation there?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of hit on it a little bit on the last podcast. I was like, on the outside looking in, it looked like they was trying to do, I called it a Chicago screen. That's what it's called back then. Things change with every coach and everything. But where they trying to bring 2 guys to the ball and lead the actual screener, which would have been Cooper. Granted, for them, it looked like it was almost like a pick-to-picker thing, because you had come on, right behind them, where I wasn't sure if he's going to come in for another screen, or if he's just going right behind them and be there for the oop or clean up after the shot. So, but the fact that they were trying to get 2 people to jump out on the ball handler, and then trying to leave Cooper on a 1-on-1 situation or 1-on-0 situation, wherever, I mean, obviously, any play is good when it works out. I mean, that's just the way it is. Any play works out, and it's going to be a good play. But sometimes you got to figure out how to, go around a good defended play. And no matter how good the play is, sometimes people actually play defense. That's what happens out there sometimes.
Right.
So, but honestly, I would like to see this two tandem again in a late situation and see the progression from Kansas to hopefully it's not Auburn. I want to see it that fast. Hopefully a little bit later down the line. I don't want to see it that fast, but hopefully
Yeah.
we can see it again with another progression of how they handle the late clock situation.
Yeah, because there are going to be situations, even if it's not at the end of the game situation,
Mhm.
where you're going to call a play. You need a basket, and okay, the other team's on a run. You call timeout. Okay, we're going to come out. We're going to run this play, get a basket in their run, whatever. We may see it. I think we'll probably see it Auburn or Louisville, whatever. Maybe that's where we're going to see it instead of end of game at least. But we want to see some progress in those deals because, obviously they work on them all the time. They have different plays, and I see what they're doing. Con in the middle. Kaman was there. Cooper, maybe you can dish it, and he, like he said, he got up in the air and didn't know where he's going with the ball, which is can't do that, right?
Yeah,
You just can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a thing that they teach you at a young age where you can't leave your feet. Anytime you leave your feet, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we were stuck where either you had to come down for a traveling call or you just throw it up anywhere and hopefully, it kind of works out. But
Yeah.
again, I mean, if you're in a situation like that, I said it in the last podcast, throw it to the rim. Hopefully we have our guys there to kind of rebound the basketball. He has a soft enough touch. He could have a situation where you can just do a little small tip. But at this point in the time, he couldn't see that. But from my point of view, it was like, oh, throw it to Kamar. He's right there. Just oop, boom, game over.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
type of thing. But
yeah.
again, what I see on the the stands and the seats or whatever is going to be a lot different than what he sees actually, two big guys, coming at him, with, big bodies and kind of covering his vision. So it's going to be a little bit different versions, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, they seem to be taking the lessons. John sounded serious about, especially the softness. That struck me as like, okay, you can't be soft. I firmly believe he said that and he meant it, because if they play the way they played against Seattle, against Auburn, they'll lose by 20.
Mm-hmm.
They could get run off the court, and you don't want to get run off the court at home. So he was kind of sounding an alarm. And they've got, let's also say this, that long trip, they didn't get much time to practice,
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that they've spent, as we tape this on Monday, they played Friday, they had a day off. They've been working. They got 3 days to get ready for Auburn. And so
Wednesday, right?
Wednesday night, late game, 9:15 Eastern. So they'll get a good practice in on Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll see. But that's it's got to happen here. We talked about these key 4 games: Kentucky, Arizona, Kansas, Auburn. Right now, 1 and 2 in those 3 games. So it's not a shame. It's not anything to be ashamed about, because you're playing really good teams. But at some point, you got to beat somebody and to help your tournament resume, because the ACC is not doing well this year in non-conference play. And so these wins are going to be necessary come March when you want to be a number 1 seed, if you're going to be a number 1 seed in the tournament.
Definitely. And I also, even if we're not a number 1 seed, I think these games are going to be set up to build our team to be a strong, team that can, go against any kind of different situations that may happen throughout the year. So at the end of the year, so I think it's good because we actually seen a lot of different close games, whether it be the Kentucky game or Kansas game. We've seen these games early on. Now it's not going to be such a new thing for us later in the game where it counts for real, where it's one game go home type situation. So I think that's going to be good for us to have these type situations now, even though it doesn't seem like it right now. But looking at the bigger picture, it could come full circle at the end of the year where we are in the game where maybe play against Kansas again, and all of a sudden, we down the wire with these teams, and Connor is playing, and all of a sudden we got to overcome that, and we have already done something like that already similar. So we know what we need to do, what we don't need to do.
Right. That's the whole thing. Again, the plan is in like 2 or 3 months to look back on this as, okay, this is what they were learning. They were getting their feet under them. Now look at them go. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
plan. That's what John wants. That's what the whole team wants. We'll see if it starts out on start moving toward that on Wednesday night against Auburn at Cameron Indoor Stadium. That's going to be a great game. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Believe in Duke podcast. Thank you to Bet Online for sponsoring it. This is episode number 99. We will rejoin you after the Auburn game, between the Auburn game and the Louisville game. The Louisville game is Sunday, so we'll have a podcast in between. That'll be number 100. So it's going to be a big number. Hopefully, it'll be a big game to talk about. And we'll look forward to the ACC play. That'll be cool, huh?
Yep. As always, let's go Duke.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. All right.